Good day, DepEd Makati teachers. I hope you are all doing great in our new normal life. I am Dr. Celidonia Titinesa, your Education Program Supervisor. Well, this PowerPoint presentation is about contextualizing DepEd Order Number 31 Series 2020 in EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM. DepEd Order Number 031 refers to the Interim Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in BELCP. Its purpose is to provide guidance on a student's learning and grading scheme for this pandemic school year only. The ongoing process of assessment to determine what the learners know and can do are identifying, gathering, organizing, interpreting quantitative and qualitative information. The formative helps students to learn and practice, while the summative assessment assesses students' performances and put into record. The teachers can integrate the formative and the summative assessment in any part of the lesson, whether before, during, or after the lesson. This is an example of ADM module in EPP Grade 4, where all its parts and activities can be used as basis in formative assessment. The formative assessment flow using ADM module covers reading of the modules, answering activities, preparation and submission of outputs through Google Drive, FB Messenger, email, Telegram, Viber for online classes, while for full modular submission can be through Jeepney Maki or with the help of the barangay officials. In EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM, written and performance summative assessments are usually administered toward the end of a learning period, which are recorded and are used to report the learner's achievement. The written assessment in EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM earns 30%, while the performance assessment earns 70%. In the next slide, the written works and performance tasks in EPP under Table 1 and in Senior High School TVL Table 2 has 30% in written works and 70% in performance tasks, while in Senior High School ABM has 40% in written works and 60% in performance tasks. In this slide, the Senior High School core subjects have 40% written works and 60% performance tasks, while in EPP 4 to 6 and grade 1 to 10 have 30% in written works and 70% in the performance tasks. DepEd Order Number 8 Series 2015 shall still be used in this grading system, including all provisions in promotion and retention. To address assessment challenges in EPP-TLE, TVE-TVL-ABM, the teachers, learners, and parents have shared roles and responsibilities. All teachers shall check if learners or parents have received modules to use ahead of time with complete activities to be regarded as both formative and summative assessment. The learners are expected to be proactive in updating their teachers of their situations, progress, and challenges encountered. The learners and the teachers shall agree how to keep record and monitor their individual progress because this is very important. The parents or guardians are responsible in developing their children who can study and work on the assessment of their own. Parents and children shall agree on the extent of guidance to provide through distant learning modalities. While still adhering to the principles of quality assessment, teaching skills or theories need to be creative and flexible in assessing student learning. In planning both the formative and summative assessment, it is important to align with the prescribed most essential learning competencies, or what we call MELCs. Teachers shall design formative and summative assessment on distance learning modalities asynchronously that can be assessed through various ways like via Google Drive, email, Telegram, and other forms. When deciding of which assessment method to use in EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM, it is important to understand the purpose of assessment and when to be assessed. For this slide, it is important to consider the methods to demonstrate learning and the method to gather evidences. Also, it is important to consider of what technology to use in deciding which assessment method to use in EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM. Written works shall be administered to assess essential knowledge and understandings through quizzes and long or unit tests. Assessment tasks in diverse ways are allowed, like creating and innovating products, or even performance-based tasks like demonstration, group works, research, multimedia presentation, and many other ways. Take note that written outputs may also be considered as performance tasks. Performance tasks must be designed to provide opportunities for learners to apply what they are learning to real-life situations. Under performance tasks, each must be accompanied with clear and appropriate scoring tools like checklists, rubrics, rating, scale, and others to help learners demonstrate their learnings. Learners must be given flexibility in the accomplishment of the performance tasks, while teachers must exercise their professional judgment in carrying out summative assessments. Teachers should set realistic expectations and use their professional judgment to find a good balance between what is effective and what is feasible to accomplish remotely. In conducting the assessment task remotely, it is imperative to consider the objective of the assessment task, roles of learners and parents or guardians, procedure and expected timeline, and standards and rubrics. Students' learning and development must include self-monitoring tool, check-ins of teachers with learners during assessment period, and evidence learning in the student's learning portfolio. To benefit student learning, both formative and summative assessment must be accompanied with timely, constructive, and meaningful feedback based on learners' record progress. In giving feedback, teachers need to maximize available communication options. EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM teachers should ensure that learners receive remediation when they earn raw scores which are consistently below expectation in summative assessments by the 5th week of any quarter. This will prevent a student from failing in any learning area at the end of the year. Students' learning portfolio that documents all evidence of learnings within the grading period, including self-reflection, self-evaluation of performance tasks guided by rubrics, and self-selected best outputs in learning modules. There are minimum of 4 written works and 4 performance tasks within the quarter, preferably 1 in 2 weeks integrating 2 or more competencies. This slide is about a sample self-monitoring tool for EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM. And the next slide is about a sample self-monitoring tool for parents or guardians. On this slide are formative sample activities like game quiz. This slide is about summative sample assessment called teacher-made tests. On the next slide is a sample oral recitation rubrics in EPP-TLE-TVE-TVL-ABM. The next slide is a sample formative summative rubrics in ICT programming in TLE-TVE-TVL. This slide is a sample rubrics on accomplished modules. Sample class record in EPP with 30% written works and 70% performance tasks. I would like to thank and acknowledge the contributions of the following teachers in sharing their sample assessment and rubrics, namely Dr. Venus Mariano from ABM team, Dr. Mayumi Rialosa from TVE-TVL team, Ma'am Melanie Agapito and Ma'am Nara Gorion from TLE team, and Ma'am Sheila Rosan from EPP team. Thank you and continue to serve our learners in this new normal education. Happy virtual teaching. In behalf of the SDO DepEd Makati, yours truly, Dr. Celidonia Tolentino Tenesa, would like to thank everyone, and I am hoping for the collaboration and cooperation of everyone in this pandemic situation while we are serving our learners and parents also, including all the school's stakeholders. And before I forget, I'd like to introduce also my partner, Dr. Sia, our PSDS in District 4, for serving you and for helping you in this endeavor. God bless you and mabuhay!